Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Return to Nature Masterclass. I'm super grateful that you all are here. So let's just get present to the present of the present and take a deep breath in. Let it all go. Take another deep breath in. Let it all go. And let's just invite God into the space. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for being here and your unconditional love to be here, and for the Spirit to work in ways that will transform all these beautiful souls that are here. Guide us in every moment of this class. Allow us to be present to the present of the present. With open hearts, vulnerability, love, and ears to hear, and eyes to see for clarity. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Welcome, Lewis. So I would like to start the class off with, oh, he didn't hear me. With the homework that we had last week, it was observe the present of the present. And for me, the way that showed up this week is also receiving in self-care. And I am in this space of giving myself grace on a level that I've never given myself grace for. And in 2024, that's going to be my word, is grace. Because for the past 30 years, I've been beating myself up and measuring myself to what I could have done better, and I could have been doing that, and just like constantly just measuring. And it's created this hell within myself. So the homework this week, like how that showed up for me, is observing the present of the present. And that's what's present for me in the moment. And I would love to hear what showed up for those of you that were here. And for those of you that weren't here, that was the homework, was to observe the present of the present and how that showed up in your life in the last 7 days. And welcome, Paul. Thanks for being here. Lewis, thanks for being here. I appreciate you all being here. So who would like to go first on, and for those of you who just came in, Paul and Lewis, we're talking about the homework for last week's assignment of this class was to observe the present of the present and how that showed up in our life in the last 7 days. So if you don't have anything, that's fine. And another thing that I want to just quickly announce is if you have something that you feel inspired to share, that Spirit's calling you to share, you'll find a tab on the reactions. There's a little smiley at the bottom. Just raise your hand and then you can unmute yourself once you get called on. So Noel, I see your hand up. Go for it. Thank you for going first.
You're welcome. I actually had written down a different homework assignment. What I had written down was nature, be present to the sounds and sights and feelings and report back. So I went on a silent nature walk experience, which
Okay.
I think that came up. So I have been focusing on the present. That's one of my 3 things that I chose as part of this community that I want to bring into the world. So I have been doing some piece of that, but I did specifically go down to the river in a very peaceful, aware way. And I was in the water and I swam and I sat in the rocks and it was very, very, very wonderful. So that was my my present of the present. I had a present experience that was just beautiful. And I would not probably have gotten my butt out there if it wasn't a homework assignment. Now I hope to do it, really once a week at least. Thank you.
And how did that feel for you?
Delicious, absolutely delicious. It was just really, really nourishing. Very, very nourishing.
Thank you. Mama?
I just want to say
There you go.
that we are so lucky to have these two guys here that love and worship nature. I just can't believe anybody. When I saw it, what it looked like in the beginning, and it was nothing, and now it's everything. It's just gorgeous. Herbs everywhere. It's just, I want to thank you each. Love you.
You're welcome. And I love you.
Can I go, Shannon?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, there were several beautiful moments, but I will pick the most recent one, and that was this morning. I was taking care of a piece of land here, and my assignment was to cut grass. So I grabbed my machete in my hand, and I literally was very connected with the land, which is more slopey than anything. So I caught myself many times almost like leaning towards the grass and the plants, and I was cutting and cleaning, and I found a few trees that needed to be cleaned from crawling other plants that were not supposed to be there. And just overall, I have made a commitment to make myself present. And whenever I would really remember and look around and I saw the mountains around and I saw the beauty, I just almost cried. That was such a gift for me, such a present to be there in all this beauty, surrounded while using my body to do something useful at the same time. So that presence that I have chosen in that moment gave me this beautiful presence to see everything in a very different light that I would normally not see if I would just be focused on the working. But this way I felt like I have accomplished a lot more because there was such a joy inside of me by receiving that present of the present in the nature.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, is that better? What was the feeling that, like, you were present, but what was like the feeling that came through for you? Like in that moment where you looked out and you looked at the valley and the mountains and.
Yeah, it was very beautiful for me to notice because when I started, I was still in my head. I was looking at the piece of land, I was looking at the machete, and I knew what I was doing, but there was still a story in my head about what I was doing. And then suddenly I saw myself taking a deep breath, and like suddenly the awareness on that one thing, and that one machete expanded, and there was such a silence, and there was such a peace, and this sun was there, and the trees were there, and there was this undescribable bliss and peace coming from the inside, that gratitude that we can breathe, that we can be alive, that we can be part of this beautiful body of nature, taking care give and be in gratitude for what the nature gives us. And it was like, okay, I'm receiving, I have been receiving, and now I have a beautiful opportunity to give back to you. Yeah, just a lot of moments of very pure gratitude and joy. Mhm.
Thank you. During your share, I just recognized why I started this class. And it was the exact, not the exact experience that you had, but it's been this. So for those of you that are on the screen that are not with Earth Waking or may not know exactly what we're doing here, this class is called Returning to Nature. And my commitment with this class was what nature has done for me is exactly or similar to what it's done for you, is it's allowed me to connect with God on a level that I haven't been able to connect with him. And it's that remembering of coming back to the garden and recognizing that we're whole and complete and that abundance is all around us. Like you can look for miles and miles and miles, and you just combine that with what we're doing with Earth Waking and spreading this message of unconditional love to the surrounding community and to the world at large. So I just want to thank you for receiving the gift.
Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Yes, what a gift the present is. So I've had this profound experience today and yesterday of having conversations with God while I was assisting inside of the soil center. And there were like hours just having a conversation inside. And it wasn't like, it was open, it was uncertain. I was in this uncertainty and in this collaboration with him, and it just felt so easeful and graceful while I'm listening to my heart out here. Like there's a call for a need for assistance inside of the garden, and what I received was greater than even that. It is to be in connection with God. It's to hear what's going on in here and how to be and not need to do anything. Like it was just so amazing to be able to be in touch with that part of myself. So I felt like this like beautiful story being unfolded in my life. And I'm now inspired and so excited to just get back into the garden and that space to go talk with him all the time. And so there's that aspect. So I'm present to that gift and that I can come to him with anything about anything. And it is just graceful, like what you were describing. It's grace. And I feel the spirit in everything and everyone so magnified because of that conversation. It's really touched me in ways that I can't even describe. It's brings you to tears, and it's like just a powerful blanket of love that just surrounds you. It's really beautiful. I really liked how Noel was describing earlier inside of the masterclass before this, the artist of your life, that I'm going to eat gratitude. And I want to smell it. I want to see it. I want to taste it. I want to touch it. I want to just swim in it, dive in it like Neal's doing right now. I just very thankful heart for this community, for God, for all of you guys just constantly echoing love and support. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for receiving. Like this is the fruit of, yeah, just really, I have a lot of gratitude. And I also want to acknowledge you for, one of the distinctions this week is receiving and self-care. And so I spoke to this, I feel like last week in this exact class about how I saw this. So here at the village, we have a greenhouse and we have the soil center. There's a lot of components that make up the garden and to make it successful. And I have a commitment to have the garden world class. And I have this vision in my mind. And so I expressed this at the table, and I believe I expressed it at the table and also in the Return to Nature class last week. And so I just want to acknowledge you. Okay, let me just rewind. I spoke about it because there was this element that I saw that was missing. There was nothing wrong with it, but it was this missing element of it, what I saw perceived to be world-class. And then there was this time of catching up to that space of where it is in the present and it being world-class, that gap. And so Sarah Jean heard about this space of where the soil center was and the vision, and she took initiative and took that step into making it world-class. And so I just want to acknowledge you and look at what the fruit is of like you having conversations with God and connecting, and it's just really, really beautiful. So
Yeah, it's really big when you listen, because we're all one, we're all together in this. And listening to that was an aspect, but that's not what I acted upon. I acted upon the inspiration that I had as well, but I was hearing that, I listened to that. And I was asking God, I'm like, how can I be of assistance? And I listened to my own inspiration about what inspires me, what lights me up, what makes me feel really good in the sense of the fruit of it. It's not to make my body feel good, it's how my spirit feels good. And because it's labor intensive, there's a lot of things like, with physicality, there's, some things I don't like getting bit up by a bunch of ants on my feet, but the beauty that's unfolded inside of my heart for generations and generations of trees being taken care of and loved upon, and ants are a huge aspect of it. So when I'm looking at the beauty in all of it, there's so much that I receive in that space. And also listen to you, Neal, like I had no clue looking at some of the stuff out there. And just by an inspired question to you helped me see something that wasn't there for me inside. And it opened up that whole gateway to just light up that whole space. And it was really beautiful. So if I didn't listen to all of you as well, that wouldn't have happened. So thank you.
I got one more question. You said generations of trees, and for those of the people that are on the screen that may not know very much about earth waking, what are you speaking of when you say generations of trees?
Well, what's really beautiful is that we've taken fruits that we have eaten here and planted the seeds, and there's hundreds of trees that we have planted from seed, and some of them are going to take years to even produce one fruit. But that one tree is going to produce hundreds of fruits and hundreds of seeds. And it's not just for this generation, it's for many generations to come. And it's always going to produce so much fruit that's infinite. So it's for all the generations to come after us. And so that intention is huge. And that's only from one tree. There's hundreds of trees in that. So I feel that gratitude, not just from what I'm doing. It's from what we are doing for those generations. It's something that I'm receiving for hundreds of years to come. So it's really, really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris?
Just from the outside looking in, what I've learned from you guys, just watching your lives, that, everything that I've learned about waking up spiritually is about removing obstacles that is not allowing love to penetrate you. And I'm watching as I go and spend time with you guys that you've chosen to remove those obstacles. And I think it's allowing you to enjoy life's presence a lot more than the average person. I would equate myself to be like a hunter, not physically hunting animals, but I was a guy less than 4 years ago that, made over 7 figures a year and was suicidal and miserable. My life was filled with constant activity. And I never thought twice about grounding. I never thought twice about looking at a moon. I could tell you I probably haven't looked at the stars until probably about 5 years ago. And so the Lord is teaching me about the spiritual disciplines and listening to the way you guys live your life. I'm flabbergasted when I had a conversation with John. And I was like, how are you guys living? And it's funny, I said that in such a secular way. How are you guys living? And it's like, Chris, we have all the organic food we want. We have sun, we have solar, and we have fellowship. And I was like, that's all you really need. There is the removal of all the other obstacles. And I believe you guys have learned what it is to be a farmer rather than a hunter. And I think that's why you're able to enjoy so much more of the Lord's presence, because you're not inundated with doing stuff that you do not love. And because you're doing things that you love, you're experiencing peace, love, and joy, where the average person is in the world and they're overwhelmed by the things in the world and they miss all those little blessings that you guys are talking about. So that's what I want to encourage you, is you guys are being such a great example of a village that is choosing a day of presence, of just enjoying the sun, the creeks, the beaches, and that's your joy, rather than having an extra $2,000 a month to buy a bunch of crap you don't really even need, nor even care about, nor does it make you more healthy. And so I congratulate you guys on overcoming that secular bondage of removing those blockages. And that's what I've seen in y'all's lives. And it's very exciting to see that it's possible. And it gives me a lot of faith. So thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, Chris. Noel, would you mind repeating the homework again, Noel? It was very, very similar to what I have, but I feel like it's important to what you have as well.
Well, I had written down, and I'm not sure, I might have got it wrong, but it was like a silent nature walk, experience sights, sounds, feelings, and report back. That was part of it. That might have been somebody else's suggestion. I'm not sure, but definitely presence, but it was a specific, in my mind, go do something out there and report back on it. That's what I had gotten.
Thank you. So that was the question, Neil. That was the homework, and that's what we're on at the moment. Something that you experienced during the week and presence with being in nature.
Well, it's like not that nature related. So that's why I was like, do I even share this? Do I not share this? That's why I asked what the question was. But right before, it wasn't right before lunch. So like I had an 11 o'clock meeting scheduled. And I was mulching the outside beds in front of Casona, and I was wood mulching these things. And at like 10:40, I had a wheelbarrow that I was finishing around like 10:30, and then I finished it at 10:40. And then I had intentions of showering and then coming to this appointment that I had at 11. And then just like meditating and relaxing before lunch. And 10:40 comes around, I go in the house, my hands are all dirty, like just drenched in sweat. It's really hot at like 10:30 in the day here, specifically today. I get clothes from my room, I go to the shower, you're in the shower, I want to shower, but you're in there, I'm on a time frame. I really need to get in the shower, but you're in the shower. And my mind is like it's not even my mind, but there's this energy that's moving. It's like I need to go, like, dude, like I'm like, I was like considering asking you, like, dude, like get out of the shower. I actually need to get in there. Like, that was the energy I was in. And but I was like, fuck that, like God put you in there. And like, why am I feeling this way? And I didn't know what I was gonna do because there was no way I was gonna come to this meeting like all like that. I could have, but I chose not to. And so I literally went outside on the outside faucet and washed up there. And in the process of doing that, I went from this super hyper energy of needing to be somewhere. I was present, but at the time when I was feeling this energy, I was thinking about the future and I wasn't present. And as I started like washing in this outside faucet, like I still had like clothes on, but I didn't have a shirt, and I was just letting just cold water just like pour over my face and pour over my shoulders, and I just started to feel presence. And the cleaner I got, the more presence I felt. And like at one point, like I'm just like soaking wet with this cold ass water all over my body and the hot sun just like pressing down, but I'm feeling cool now because of this water. And I went from being in this super hyper, it was like it wasn't a trigger because I wasn't overtaken by it, but it was to the point where I wasn't present and I was off center. And from that emotional space, I recognized that it was a gift that this emotion was coming up, because it was coming up for me to feel it and to move through it. And that's exactly what happened. And I didn't need to change the emotion. I didn't even try to change it. I didn't try to fix it. I was feeling it. I was like, this fucking feels shitty and I don't want to feel like this, but this is how I'm feeling. And I love that. It was like a feeling of not being on time, so like being late. It was a feeling of being rushed, which was like a feeling of being out of integrity with my own word. It was a feeling of not showing up for myself, which was the integrity thing. So a lot of integrity, a lot of there was like, I felt out of control, which was where the thing came in from needing to be here at this time. That was a control thing. And because it actually would have flowed perfectly had you not been in the shower. Like it was like literally a chink in the channel that I had envisioned. And it was so perfect because it brought up this emotion.
And what was the emotion?
Yeah, that's what I'm speaking
Okay.
through with Sarah.
Okay.
It's just like this rushness, being out of integrity. I honestly don't know what the emotion was. I just know that it was potent and I couldn't get where I wanted to be fast enough. And oh, so there it was and also a desire emotion, because it was a desire to be somewhere other than where I was. So that was in there. That's my share.
What was the gift that you, like, what was the present of the present that you got from that?
Presence. Because I wasn't present and then
Oh.
I became present.
So you were living in the future.
Exactly. And when I wasn't present, that's when I was feeling all this emotion. And then as I got present, this emotion just moved. It just literally dissipated and alchemized. Like it was so intense. Like I was like literally to the point of like, I didn't cry, but it was like right there. It was just like, it was like, it was just so much. It was really an intense energy. That's my share.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to? Yes, Peter.
Thank you.
I just thought of another beautiful, beautiful moment that just happened so unexpectedly this afternoon when Rose and we were carrying this very heavy bag with chicken corn powder. And we walked into this chicken place where all the chicken were. And that was still the moment when I was in my ego. I was still thinking like, okay, this is what we are doing. This bag has to come here and this has to be there. And Rose has to pour water in there. And I was really thinking. And then suddenly I was holding this bag up. This bag has this hole, and the bag, all this corn started pouring down into this bucket. And as it was pouring down, there was this like powder flowing everywhere. It was just powderous. And I suddenly, everything slowed down for a moment. I was holding this bag. My foot was stepping into something wet. I was looking at Rose, who was trying to like pour water into this little thing. And then there was this powder everywhere. She was covered in powder. I was covered in powder. There was this sun rays shining right through everything. And I was just staring into this beauty, tens of happy chicken all around. And I was thinking, can anything be better than this moment right here? That moment just felt so beautiful and so fulfilling and so full, and with everything, like my foot stepping into something wet, and just all this just all together created such a beauty, such a magnificent, beautiful of everything I could ever wish for. And there was just silence and stillness, and there's this race and things floating in the air. It was beautiful. That was a present. There was another present that I got today. It was so, so, so beautiful. Thank you for that present.
Thank you. Welcome, David. So David, if we're still on the homework, we are sharing on what the present of the present was in the past 7 days. So if you have something that you'd like to share, just raise your hand. And in the meantime, I want to restore integrity with what I said that I was going to do last week and I didn't do it. And that was to post the homework in the Signal chat that was created for the participants of the Return to Nature Masterclass. So for everyone that was there last week, I'm sorry, and my commitment is to my commitment going forward is to honor my word, and you can count on me to, when I say that I'm going to do something, to do it. So I just want to put that out there. Yes. And then Sarah.
Yeah, I had a share inspired from Peter's share, and it's I received today on a level that I don't know that I think I've received on this level before, but I acknowledge that I received this time, and in the past I would just receive and not even acknowledge it. I would just receive and just it's like it's still the same day I've received, but nothing changes. Today I received and I acknowledge that I received and everything changed. Everything that changed was that I noticed that I don't need to do it all with Neal. I can actually receive assistance. And the first thing how that showed up was like at the start of the day, once the sun's up, before the sun's up, Neal's up, and then once the sun's up, Neal's implementing outside. So the sun had come up and I was walking towards the greenhouse and I'd looked to my left at the nursery, and the day before I'd spoken to Sarah, and Sarah, you'd spoke to this about how I'd shared insight in the nursery specifically. Every single insight that I shared with Sarah, every single thing that I spoke to was completed in the nursery today when I walked past it. And I was like mind blown. Literally, like I looked at it and I went, holy shit. Like I just said it out loud. I couldn't even help myself. So that was a massive gift. And there were things that were done that I hadn't even spoken to. It's phenomenal. I received this, and so now that's like a gift. I'm starting my day off gifted, like literally. And I slept in because my body was so exhausted from yesterday that I literally couldn't get out of bed today. My alarm went off and my body just said there's no way. And I slept another hour and a half and I was able to get up then. So I started my day later than what I anticipated. So now I'm a half hour, actually even an hour later than what I saw myself watering the greenhouse. So I come into the greenhouse an hour later than what I expected. And I'm like in this rush energy that I was talking about that other experience I had. And so I come in the greenhouse like all focused, and there's Bradley with the nozzle in his hand watering the plants. And half of the greenhouse is watered. And I'd look at him and I just tell Bradley like, holy cow, like, thank you, Bradley. And I went from this rushed energy of needing to implement and do something, and I looked at him, I thanked him, I opened my arms, and I literally sat on a wooden bench that we have in the greenhouse, and I just meditated for a couple minutes. Of course, Bradley wanted to hear all about what I received. He sensed it in my energy, and I spoke to him about it. But like literally, my day started off with receiving today, and I acknowledged it then, and I'm acknowledging it now again to really ground it into my being. That the entire world gets blessed when I receive. And say what again? The entire world gets blessed when I receive. Actually, the entire creation gets blessed when I am receives. I am receiving. I have received. The entire creation is blessed. What's it blessed with? The entire creation is blessed with God's grace, and so it is.
Hallelujah. Sarah, did you have a share? Oh, and then we'll get to you, Dave.
It's on.
I would like to tell you a story that happened to me yesterday. You know that I've had a heart attack, but my heart was getting stronger. And I was to the point that I was going to the steps and then I'd be coming there. But when we were at the table and we talked about Perla, the dog, the emotions didn't really rock into me until I went out the door. And then I said, oh my goodness, I've had him so long that it was really, really hard. But the emotions overtook the healing of the heart and put me down in bed so that I wasn't able to get up because my heart was beating so fast. I can't really understand how that happened, but it's amount of love that switched from being able to do something to, it's very unique. Yeah. But I came today because God sent me to see you. But I think that anybody have any suggestions how to get over I mean, it sounds like the closer it gets to someone taking Perla away, the more my heart is going to be going crazy because it's so full of love on both sides. Does that make sense?
Yes, on the screen, if someone would have a suggestion how to overcome letting go of a loved dog.
So,
We will ask.
I just think it's so strange how the heart went from being able to go to steps to me flat on the bed, but with a heart rate, I couldn't even get up. I just think that's very strange.
because
But that's God's working his magic. I didn't quite understand what
you were looking
God's
at,
trying to do.
you were
that
looking at-
whatever he,
you were looking at it as love was coming
Whatever
from
it
Perla
is,
and
is
not that
right.
it was from within you. It's a codependency. Attachments to Perla.
yeah, I had with Perla,
Can you speak into the mic? There you go.
with Perla, she helped me, I helped her, but I came an attraction that shouldn't have really happened. So now I've got to work it out with God and everything will be fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for letting me give you that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. Yes, Dave?
Okay. Okay, great.
Can I answer, Carol? And
Oh, go
then-
ahead.
I just want to say to Mama Carol that Perlo's love may very well be connected to you, and but as an unphysical therapist type of person, I am. I think it might be helpful to just focus on the type of deep breathing that is slow and calm, because that will help you pull in your parasympathetic nervous system and help calm the whatever's exciting your heart and making it go fast. So that was just a little thing you can try. It was very well maybe connected to Perlo, but you can do the deep breathing and try to take calm, deep breaths when that happens, whether Perlo's there or not. So I just thought I'd interject that. And Dave wanted to say something.
Thank
Well,
you.
Yeah, no.
yeah, it was in regards to the homework there, the walk. We have a woods walk not far from us where we take our dog almost daily, except for this time of year, it's winter, so we're going less often. But anyway, because of the homework, we yesterday took a walk in the woods, and we're having a weird warmth here. I mean, we're in the Northeast. It's normally snow this time of year, and it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and no snow. So just kind of odd. So our walk was nice because there was no snow or crunchiness of ice to walk around on. But we were doing our normal little thing with the dog kind of running around. And we found this one moment where we kind of spooked 5 white-tailed deer. And they initially kind of walked, and then they kind of slowed down, and then they kind of disappeared. So I was like, wow, we've walked these woods so many times, but never saw not just one deer, but 4. There were 4 deer that were obviously enjoying the habitat. And my thought was, what a great habitat we have here for these animals. And then there was that, I can't remember the Bible quote, might have been in Matthew, where Jesus talks about the birds and how God feeds them and clothes them. And why should we have to worry? Because aren't we much more cherished than them? So that was my thought with the deer. It's like, wow, they have this great habitat, but we have a great habitat. You know, in our human world, we just got to pay attention to the fact that God does provide. So that was a little message, with the deer, just kind of seeing how they're being provided for and how we also can be provided for. So further on the walk, we ran across another walker with his dog, and the dog was off leash. We've seen him there before, and he just had a casual glance. But this time we stopped and actually engaged in a really good conversation about this woods, about this place. And there was this mutual love for it, with the dogs and everything. And the guy's not far away. And, that was another serendipity, was just to meet another human being on this walk who was willing to share his love for the same place with his dog. And that was a reminder that, we have angels that come and visit us all the time. And I figured he was an angel that just was there as a reminder to us to cherish this place that we go to frequently, take it for granted, but that it really is special. And then there's also a pond on this walk. There's a dam area and a pond. And it was really kind of interesting because we came on down the slope where the pond is. And because of the weird temperatures we're having, the ice on the pond was thawing, creating all this mist and almost a fog. So it kind of reminded me almost like Costa Rica, where you come into the cloud forest and you have this mist and fog everywhere, and you lose your visibility, but at the same time, there's this calming peace in that fog. So we were just enjoying that moment of transition, going from the clarity of the trail to all of a sudden the fog, and just continuing onward and just feeling this sort of warmth, even though it was cold, of this warm embrace of the fog and of the like you guys have out there in Costa Rica, the cloud forest just kind of has this sort of hugging effect, in the landscape. So anyway, just a really cool walk, paying attention to those little details. And like I said, we go there frequently, but just seeing it with new eyes with this intention that we brought into it. So that was a real nice experience that we had. And so we were receiving, Neal, as you were, all that this was.
Yes.
And yes, as we were receiving, the universe was receiving as well. So we felt that in that walk. So a great exercise, something that we want to continue.
Yes,
And,
thank you, David. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna, Sarah Jean, if you want to go, and then we'll get to you, Louis. We got another 10 minutes. If you want to take like 2.5, I got some homework that came through that I feel is going to be a joy for this next week. So
I'll be elegant. I wanted to share about a beautiful experience that I had with Peter and you and Rose at the fire pit. There there was this dropped in space that I hadn't ever felt before. It was magnetic, it was attractive, there was so much of our inner child at play. And then everyone just started gathering, and it became such a beautiful space that we all ended up spending the night around the fire, just sleeping on blankets together like little kids. And it was just heaven sent, like everything about it. I just didn't want to leave that space. It was, we were all reading poetry just by the firelight and stars and the moon. And it was just absolutely stunning in every single possible way. And I felt everyone's inner child as well. So when I feel like I drop into that space with no effort, no attachment, no nothing, it allows for all of us to experience, and I get to witness it in others as well. And I was just blown away how I got to experience that, because I chose to go inside, and it was just, it was so beautiful. So thank you all for being present in that moment and playing with me. So thank you.
It's amazing what God can do.
Mama Carol says it's amazing what God can do. Yes, Lewis. Thank you, Mama. It's a great reminder.
I am just so grateful for all of you. I had a moment earlier this week when I went to this tree at my apartment complex and just sat under the tree and meditated. And there was this moment where it's like very thick vines and branches where the sun shined directly on my face. And I was just surprised and delighted. And I was like, wow, I am loved. And I felt that same like light peering through the thick branches on this call. Like that same experience of like, hey, just get present. It's all here. There's literally nothing that you could desire that is outside of here, outside of now, outside of what's available right here. And like, I'm starting to get it, man. Like I'm starting to get, because I came back to Austin and I was like, all right, the studies say, 600 minutes of nature per week is the optimum. So I was like, all right, I'll do at least 5 hours of nature. But it's like, it's not about the quantity. It's about like this beautiful artwork that God has composed to remind us of who we are, that we've been alienated from and obscured. And like, if we just take a moment to be with it, then even like dumping stuff and having dust show up in our face as our foot is like stepping in something wet becomes like this most beautiful experience. And so like, thank you for the reminder of that. And yeah, the present of the present. I mean, I remember it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lewis.
Welcome.
So the homework for this week is going to be out of the Bible. I'm just going to read some scripture, and it is from John 15. So I'll make sure to put this in the chat. And for those of you that are on the screen that are not here in the village, this chat is on Signal. So reach out to me. I feel like everyone that's here is connected on Facebook except maybe David. And if you have Signal, like in the Remember Experience or the Earth Waking Village, just reach out to me there. Let's connect. That way I can add you to the group. And And same with you, Chris. I'm not sure that we're connected on Signal. But, so I'm just gonna read this. We got a couple more minutes left. It says, and this homework is gonna be just to see how this shows up in our life this week, and also to read and really get to the source of what he's saying here. So he says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. I'm going to read that again because this is the verse that, and this one and the next one really hit for me. He says, if you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. And then he goes on, he goes, by this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples. So that is John 15 from the first verse till, actually I'm going to read the next one too, to 9. 9 says, as the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. And I feel like that's a beautiful way to end this class. I just want to thank everyone for being here and for remembering who we are and spending time in the garden and letting our little children out to play. It's a joy for me to play in this garden with you. Even if you're on camera, your presence is felt because, like Neal said, we're all one. And I guess there is 3 more minutes. I thought that it was closer to the time. Does anyone have a quick share that they would like to have for the next? Does anyone have a quick 2-minute share? Actually, Noel, I'm just gonna. Okay,
go
would you
with
would you
Dave.
mind would you
Go
mind
with
closing
Dave.
it for us, Noel?
No, you go with Dave. I live here. Go with Dave.
I didn't hear what you said. Okay, Dave, would you mind closing us out with a minute or 2 to go?
Well, I just have a question, Dennis. You mentioned homework and you did this scripture reading. What is the homework exactly? I mean, what are we supposed to do with that scripture?
Yeah, so just if you would read it and let's get to the source and of what he's speaking about and come back next week on when we read it, what those words spoke to us. Like how those words came alive when we read them.
Okay,
we'll
good. So we come
from
back
that.
with the embodiment personally about those passages.
Yes.
Okay.
So with that, thank you all for being here. I love you all. I appreciate you. And I will see you next week. Have a great night.